It's offers, baby. That's the KPI. That's the KPI that no one ever talks about. But you make a ton of money in wholesaling when you make offers. So that is what we got to talk about today, right? If you haven't made any offers this week, you're going to make no money. No offers, no money. More offers, more money. And so calls are important, but contacts are more important than that. And really the most important part of it after contacts is offers. And I see a lot of people that they'll go to me like, Zach, I made 20,000 calls this week and I got no deals. What's up? Okay, well, I'm going out here and I'm like, okay, well, you made 20,000 calls. Let's see here. You got about 6,000 contacts. So that's not terrible. And then you got 4 offers out of 6,000 contacts. That's absolutely terrible. And so I know for a fact that you're getting a hold of the people the right way, right? That's not bad. But for some reason, these people aren't converting.
Every wholesaler needs a lead generation schedule. If you don't have one, create one right now. You need to know exactly what days you're going to call, how long you're going to call, and how many property owners you plan to call during each lead generation session. Be sure to create you a schedule to follow every single day.
That's where you make these big deals.
That's the only way you're going to get this kind of discount. The markets are hot. Everybody knows about real estate. They've been watching you on YouTube telling them come buy property.
Thank you.
No, you're good at it. You get the word out, and guys, just like you've been now doing it for 10 years.
Sure.
There ain't no secret.
Right.
But of all the time that I've spent, there are a lot of unique ways to search for property with distress, but the common thread I find in almost all of them is they're behind on their taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to get complicated, learn a bunch of unique searching methods, you can go pull the delinquent tax list and start marketing to them. When you have a small,
what do you mean marketing to them?
Just contact, calling.
You're calling. Yeah. You're reaching out. Are you sending any letters? Are you doing anything there?
I did letters early on, but one of the problems you're going to run into is a lot of these owners have died or they're harder to get a hold of. They don't live in the property. And your letters are going to wind up on the front porch.
So how do you get a hold of them on the phone then?
You've got to have a really good data set, which is not the kind of data that most folks can just buy in bulk.
Right.
You've got to have a private investigator and or access to that credit level data set.
Right.
So that's how we do it. You're looking one by one.
So you're looking for relatives.
Usually you're looking for relatives or a neighbor. Those are the two ways.
Sure.
At least 50% of the time, we talk to a relative, not a child, a relative outside of that. Mm-hmm. That's our first contact usually.
But he said something like this. He said, most people fail for the simple reason they don't learn the right skills necessary to succeed. They don't learn the right skills. He goes on to say everybody's taught skills, but the people who fail are the ones who are not taught the right ones.
Dude has been through what I've been through, and if he made it, because what we don't know about the streets is, and a lot of people don't know it because they've never been there, but all it takes for us to see is one of us win.
Yeah, that's it.
And seeing one of us win means I have to see something that brings me back to a familiar place.
And Jacksonville is the largest land mass city in the whole United States, growing like crazy. Has the most cash buyers almost out of like all the markets and very easy to sell a deal.
Got it. Okay, so how do they start to find leads to get their first wholesale deal?
So you're going to determine how you're going to reach out to people before you get the leads. So if you're cold calling, you want to get a list. The list can come from reprolist.com. You can pull, like we talked about, figure out the hot zip codes first. So once you pick your market, figure out the hot zip codes, and then I like to pull a list with individual owners. I like to leave out the corporate.
Okay.
And when we skip trace that, we get most people.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we're kind of getting more bang for our buck. And then ideally, if that list is 10,000, it's going to take you 2 or 3 weeks to get through it.
Got it.
You start with one thing, one positive thing. You start adding positive things, the ball starts rolling. And so the easiest one is more marketing equals more deals. That is it. That's all I found to make more money wholesaling. More marketing equals more deals.
And you don't get the life that you desire, you get the life that you believe. And we desire these things. We desire great relationships. We desire successful businesses. We desire great bodies, all these things. But do you really is your belief in alignment with the desire?
You are expecting a real estate agent. You're expecting a real estate agent to understand that wholesalers actually provide tremendous value to a real estate transaction, let me think about this. Okay. Let me give you guys a little bit of food for thought. How many, Jamil, how many expired listings pop up every day in our market?
In our market?
Every day.
In Arizona. I'm going to say, okay, so we're on average listing 50 a day.
Okay, you're close. It's 40 a day average. Okay, so we get about 1,200 expired listings per month in Maricopa County alone. That's not Pinal County. That's not Flagstaff. That's not Yuma. That's not Tucson. In the state of Arizona, we get a little over 2,500 expired listings every single month in just our state. Okay, so think about the nation. And what is an expired listing? This goes back to his point, the question he's asking. Okay.
I knew Laura would know. I knew Laura would know. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out to my wife. Love that woman. So how many expired listings pop up every single day in the country? Do we know? I did the math this morning. It's 5,000 in the country, 5,000 a day. What is an expired listing other than an agent who took on a job and worked their butt off for 6 months just to get fired because they did not educate their seller? They took a listing they should never have taken. They don't know creative finance. They did not provide any solution, did not provide any value. They took on a job and did not educate their seller. So what does that tell you? If 5,000 agents a day get fired, it tells me a couple of things. Number one, I don't need another lead source as long as I live. I'm sorry if you guys like working with agents, you guys have fun with that. I don't want to work with agents. It's a pathway that is very successful. It's a truly amazing pathway. I am so riddled with, oh my gosh, I have to be so patient with these children that have a license to sell people's largest asset. And then we as wholesalers are upset when they treat us like the enemy. Guys, they took 2 weeks of classes. They don't educate themselves. They're physically required to go take continued education classes. But what do? They hire virtual assistants to take the classes for them. They won't even take their classes. Okay. So
I've never heard that, Jay. That's great. 43,000.
4 men going 35 and a 65. Yeah, I love that. That's a really great way to remember that. So my point is, when you are talking to an agent, don't be upset when they're upset about you wholesaling. And so what Jamil was saying earlier was saying, hey, if you find yourself not able to build rapport because you aren't as good on the phone as Pace or Brent or Jamil or Jerry or hundreds of people in the side chat, you're not as good at that yet. What you should do is say, hey, I am a buyer, up until you run into a situation where you do have the ability to build rapport and trust within 30 seconds.
If you believe that the grass is greener right where you are, that's going to be true for you. If you believe it's hard, it's difficult, it's not the right time, that is going to be true for you.
The last one, you just got to outwork everybody. This was my mom. I'm just going to outwork. I had at least 50 wholesalers I worked in my local market in Port St. Lucie when I started out. I think there's 2 left, by the way, just to let you know the survival rate in this business. It's just the truth. Nobody wants to work. If you have the mentality you will outwork anyone, you never have to worry about this.
Wholesaling real estate is really, like, when it boils down to like its bare bone structure, it's all numbers. It all comes back to numbers, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. Most wholesale businesses fail because they don't have enough leads. If you don't have enough leads, that means you aren't talking to enough people. And if you aren't talking to enough people, that means you aren't making offers, because the only way to make an offer is to talk to somebody, a good offer. And if you aren't making any offers, you aren't getting any contracts. If you don't have any contracts, you don't have any closings. So we see how it all goes back to the leads, and it's all in each one of those numbers. Each one of those figures I just described was a number that needs to be paid very close attention to. So if you're in a wholesale business and you're not getting leads every day, for one, that's a big problem. That's literally like having a body without water going into it.
It is hidden in the way you spend your time every single day. It's hidden in the way you spend your time every single day. You can't hide from the work that you did or didn't do. It is impossible for you to hide from the work that you did or you didn't do. Your results will show and tell on you every single time. Your results are going to show and tell every single time.
I used to not believe in this stuff, but the physical reality that we see with our eyes is an illusion that we create based on the thoughts that we think all the time and the beliefs that we have. And all a belief is a thought that just reoccurs, right? So when we start changing our thoughts, we change what we see. Because I always tell people, like, you don't see with your eyes, you see through your eyes. You see with your mind, right? So if you start changing up here, the outside will reflect what's going on in here. So even with businesses, if you're a business, you're wholesaling, right? If you're always thinking, oh, what if I cancel this contract? What if I cancel this contract? Oh, I can't get a deal. I can't get a deal. What are you focusing on? You're focusing on the fact that you can't get a deal and you're going to have to cancel a contract. So what are you already anticipating, and what is your attention and energy going to? Canceling the contract and not getting a deal.
By the way, everybody on a daily basis should be posting a video or a picture that says, I buy houses. Send me your deals. Send me your deals. Send me your deals. All right? Everybody should be building up their referral database. It's incredible. I talk about this all the time. Imagine if you had 30 people, just 30 people, agents, friends, title companies, hard money lenders, anybody, whoever, referring you one deal a year. Imagine that. And the average deal size, if we were really going on the low end, is 10,000. 30 deals at 10,000. That's $300,000. So definitely do not be quiet. Give yourself permission to turn your phone around and film something every single day that says, send me your deals. Watch what happens. All right?
How can you help get your first deal? One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is they say, I'm in 5 different markets and I'm trying to do wholesaler outreach, agent outreach, and direct to seller. Pick one market. One market. You don't know which market to pick. Is it going to be a market you potentially eventually want to buy in? Do that market. Is it a market where you see a lot of activity? Do that market. Are there Keegleys in there? Jamil's company, Keegley, does a lot of market research. If they don't have a franchise office location in that market, there's probably a reason for it. So that's another way. It's like the Starbucks effect for multifamily is the Keegley effect in wholesaling. So pick your market. Then pick your outreach method. Direct to seller, direct to agent, direct to wholesaler. Don't do one or the other. Don't do two. Do one of them. Focus on one. It's 3 different business models. Which one can you choose? That's up to you. Do you like to call sellers and build those relationships and rapport? Do you like to work with agents, get referrals? Do you like helping? Because direct to wholesalers, a lot of helping, a lot of hand holding, a lot of nurturing. Figure out which one you like the most. Do one market, one outreach method. Stick to it for 90 days straight. Do not waver. Do not stop. You got to be consistent. You can't be 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's consistency, determination, persistence, and a bunch of positive thoughts. Focus on your mind. Mindfulness is the key.
I love it.
Everything else comes as a result.